how to do anticipation watch list and create a watch list of stocks which are likely to break out next day. In this video, I'm going to show you how a simple scan can find you candidates which are setting up for a possible breakout. You do run this scan, find this candidate in the night. Next day morning, you have a watch list and you enter, and if they break out, you're going to make money. So if you want to make money using anticipation, stay tuned. I'll go to Telechart TC2000 to show this. So let's look at in TC2000, you want to find stocks which are basically undergoing some sort of a pullback or an orderly. Like you want to find stocks like this. Now, if you know, like this is a stock which 3 days in a row, 3 days it is having a pullback, minor pullback, and now it is likely to break out. And you want to find candidates like this and have a watch list of candidates which have momentum and they're setting up nicely like this. So how can we create a scan and a method which will find this? In order to do that, what we are going to do is we're going to use a scan which we create. And in order to create the scan, let's go to a new, and we are going to use a combo list. So I'm going to name this particular thing anticipation scan. Now it will ask you for this particular thing, what it is going to ask you is what is the list. So US stocks. So I'm taking US stocks for this particular thing. Now we're going to build conditions which will find you a stocks like this kind of a thing, right? So add condition. The first condition which I'm going to add is basically a simple condition. I don't want to look at stocks which are very low priced. I don't want to look at stocks price below $10. So we can basically choose condition which is price condition. So you go to price and set it up value say of $10, right? Now you add another condition. You don't want to be trading stocks which do not have enough liquidity or they don't trade enough. And so I want to find stocks which are basically traded at least 300,000 shares in each of the last 3 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a formula for that. Mean V 3.1, which means 3 days in a row, barring the today's day, the volume was about 300,000. The reason why you write it like this, or you can write it just 3 days in a row, the volume was 300,000. It doesn't matter. Is when if you are running the scan and if the stock hasn't had 300,000 volume today, it will still show up. So once you have this condition, I'm going to add another condition, and this condition is the important condition, and which is what you want to look at is a stock which has an established momentum. Whenever we are looking at a stock for anticipation, what we want to do is we want to find a stock which has positive momentum and then it is having a pullback. So in order to do that, I'm just going to write a momentum condition, and for that, let's write a momentum condition of 3 months momentum. 3 months momentum, I had shown you in a video. I had done a video a couple of days ago where I talked about 3 months momentum, 6 months momentum, or a 1 month momentum. So we are going to use 3 days momentum. For that, I am going to use average C7 divided by average C65 is greater than or equal to 1.05. So what this tells you is that this stock in absolute momentum has a momentum. Now you are selecting stocks with momentum. You selected stocks which are priced about $10. You selected stocks which are 100,000 volume. You selected stocks which are momentum. But in order to find a stock which is undergoing a consolidation of 2 to 3 days, what you want to look for is a stock which is not up or down much. In the example which I showed you of just now, Vivo is down 0.38%. So it is not breaking out, or it is like in a consolidation, or it is in a volatility compression kind of a situation. So in order to find this, again, let me add a condition, and that condition is going to reduce this stocks to only those stocks. So I'm going to use a condition here which is price percent change. So if you keep going down, you will see price percent change today. And in this condition, I'm going to look at stocks whose price percent change for today is between -1 and 1%. So stocks whose price percent change is between -1 and 1%. And I want to find stocks like that, which for 3 days in a row had price percent change between -1 and 1%. And that's what I'm going to do it here. So I put in -1. So that is like basically -1 minimum, maximum is 1%. So they were at best down 1%, or they were not down more than 1%, and they were not up more than 1%. But I want to see this X bars in a row set at 3. So that 3 days in a row, this stock is having this condition, right? So if I put in all these conditions and press OK, now I get this scan, right? Anticipation. And what I can do is I can move and tab here. So once I tab it here, it is here now, right? So you are getting 31 stocks here. So this has narrowed down the universe of stocks priced about 10 with liquidity of 300,000 and which have momentum, 3 months momentum, to just 31 stocks for you to look at. Now, not all 31 stocks in this watch list are setting up nicely. So the next stage is to do a visual inspection of this 31 stock, which should not take you more than 10 minutes to do it, and look at the candidate which is setting up nicely. So when we go into this, what you'll see is met now. That is not setting up as an anticipation setup. Now this CFR is going sideways, but again, it doesn't have a very tight range kind of a thing, right? This stock is just going sideways now, right? And it has a established momentum. It is going sideways. If it breaks out, it is likely to have another leg up. So that's one candidate we found. Then we go to Allison. It had a pullback, then having this kind of a thing, which is not something which I like. So I'm not going to take. I like this. You keep going till you find good candidate. Royal Bank of Canada is having a minor pullback, but here MDRX, okay, is going sideways, and if it breaks out, it can make a move. So that is another candidate. And again, once you do this work, you can reduce your list further. So Tyson Foods is having a very orderly pullback here on a lower volume. That's a nice candidate, right? Now here, this stock might look like a good anticipation setup to you, but I have marked it XXX. That means it is a buyout. When a company is getting bought out, it will continue to go sideways for months in this kind of a narrow range, but they are not good candidates for anticipation, or they are not going to break out, because if somebody has agreed to buy this company for $37, it keeps narrowly trading around that price. So those are not good. So all these where you see a flat line, they are buyouts. So whenever a company announces buyout, I normally put this thing manually on these charts so that when I'm running this scan, I know these are buyouts. Okay, so these are all buyouts. Citrus System is a buyout. Arna Pharmaceutical is a buyout. So you have Berkshire Hathaway, but the volume is higher here, so I don't want to look at that. You have Toronto Dominion Bank. I don't really see anything there. Again, this is a buyout. Okay, this is a buyout. This is also not a good setup. Aflac, the volume is higher on this. This is a most ideal setup. These are the kind of setups you want to find, which are like basically stocks with momentum. They are having a very orderly 2 or 3 days of tight action, right? And they are really, really tight. Yesterday, on Friday, it traded only one, it was up only down only 0.38%, right? And before that, it was 0.67%. So it's like in a very narrow. So that's the ideal kind of a setup, most ideal. So this is what is called as an ideal setup. For anticipation. Right. Now travelers, it is too choppy, so I'm not going to take it. So now this is a buyout. There is nothing here. This is like not much to do here. This is a buyout. You're going to find a lot of buyouts when you run a scan like this. This is too choppy. I don't like very choppy stocks. Lows is going sideways here, might break out. So that is another candidate. But the volume was high on these 2 days, so that's a negative on that. And then you have GL, Globe Life, and You have Bank of Montreal, ABC, they are not good candidates. All in all, once we go through this, we have these many candidates. We have Altria Group, which is setting up for a possible breakout. You have MDRX, which is setting up for a possible breakout. You have Tyson, which is again ideal kind of a scenario, right? Having a low volume pullback. Vivo, that's the best looking one. And you have L. So now once you look at it and have a second look at it, you might decide, look, and L doesn't really look good. So here, all in all, when I do this for my personal trading on Monday, I will look at Vivo and I'll look at Tyson as the candidate which are likely to break out to the upside. So by using a simple method, setting up scan, defining what we want to look at. We want to look at a stock with momentum, and on that momentum, we want a momentum pause where the volatility is low. We created a watch list of stocks which are likely to break out tomorrow. Does it take more than 10 minutes to do this? So those of you who really want to make money trading, go and set yourself anticipation method.